I've played a lot of games in my lifetime, some good, some terrible, some that make me fall in love all over again with the medium the moment I play them. Recently, as I'm sure you are very aware of, Resident Evil Requiem has released. It got glowing reviews. It is people all over ecstatic that Resident Evil's next major chapter is finally here. And as someone who's about 2/3 the way through it myself so far, I can confidently say, yeah, this game is a banger. But it's really more than that. Requiem isn't just a game that's going to come and go. I think it's something that will linger and open people's eyes, especially as everything around them seems so bleak and doom-trodden in the industry. Ironic, considering how spooky the atmosphere is in Requiem. But more than any of that, what Requiem represents is the realization that the corporate gatekeepers of this industry are likely trembling because this masterpiece shatters the myth that bloated budgets and forced agendas are necessary for success these days. So today, I want to talk about how a single, uncompromising vision humiliated the AAA machine, proving also that their predatory live service models are obsolete failures that we really no longer need. And how one game, a game about perseverance and when those residents are acting a little evil, is showing the industry's desperate resentment against a community of players who are honestly sick of their nonsense. This, my friends, is Resident Evil Requiem, an amazing game in its own right. I'm having so much fun, dude, I can't even lie. I'm not sure if I would say so far it's my favorite in this series. I mean, Resident Evil 4 still kind of holds that for me, I gotta admit. But I'm more of the mind that I love Resident Evil when it's about blasting zombies in the face, leveling up my guns, and seeking out its secrets. The beginning of Resi 9, don't worry, I'm not going to spoil the story or reveal anything major here, but it's set up pretty nicely. You play as Grace Ashcroft. She returns to a building that her mom died in, and the FBI, which she works for, needs Grace to investigate something of high interest. Obviously, stuff goes wrong, there's a creepy scientist guy, and then Leon shows up mogging the entire city as zombies start appearing in the streets, and it becomes a race against what exactly is going on and why. It's a great setup, really. Like, the first part of the game is heavily Grace focused, and I was kind of worried about that before I played, but now having actually played the game, well, it's actually great. It feels like the best parts of Resident Evil Village and 7 baked into a perfect infected pie. It feels a lot like Lady Dimitrescu's castle and village. You're running around rooms, zombies are showing up, you collect some items, the blood mechanic is really cool as well, which allows Grace to make items like ammo as well as these injectors to increase her health or firepower, or maybe one-hit kill items that you can use when she stealths around enemies or when they grab her as well. It's just all really cool. I have 2 complaints so far in the game. My first one is that Grace's section is maybe needing of another weapon at least, but that's probably what New Game Plus is for. And my other problem is I feel like the enemy variety in this game could have been a bit more than it is so far. Maybe it gets better later on, I don't know, but so far I would say Village has a better enemy variety in my opinion. But anyways, whenever you do play also as Leon, the game just honestly feels like a victory lap. Leon's gameplay is just badass. I mean, what do you want me to say? Shooting zombies in the face, roundhouse kicking them, chainsawing dudes in half and more. It's just peak Resident Evil, dude. It's absolute Kino. Leon unsurprisingly gets most of the guns here, and there's a part in the game where Leon becomes front and center, and it's literally, I'm not joking, it just becomes Resident Evil 4 and 5 all over again, but like in the best ways. Suddenly you're able to like level up your guns, enemies are giving you combat points, you can level Leon's armor, you're finding variants of gun styles you used before. I love it, man, I love it. I kind of wish at times the whole game was like that, but I also get why it isn't, because the game instead flips between Resident Evil 7 and 8 and 4 and 5 at a brisk pace, if that makes sense. But the best part about Requiem is that nothing feels wasted. Every moment is deliberate. The art design and the attention also to the sound design especially is just crazy levels of good. I'm playing the game with headphones as you should, and I can hear literally everything, and it's great. Like, I can pinpoint exactly where enemies are based on their location and sound, like I'm freaking Daredevil or something. But in reality, it's just because Capcom's sound department is absolutely cooking in this game. You can even hear the Mr. Raccoons. Those are like the figurines you can break for the collectibles in the game via their jingle noise, but you can hear them as in exactly where they are in the levels, even if they're above you or whatever, by the sound design too. It's so good, dude. Like, I recently also played the Marathon beta, and the sound design in that was so bad, you couldn't even tell if an enemy was in front of you, beside you, or wherever else. There was no proper indication because the sound effects were honestly cooked in that game. So going from Marathon to Requiem, dude, it was like being fed expired milk to suddenly being given like a full 5-star steak dinner in sound design. It's crazy how good Requiem delivers on all fronts. But what Requiem reveals more than really anything is how you don't need your game to be bloated or lacking features or, God forbid, crashing every 5 minutes. Instead, it is actually feasible to release a quality game that runs well, looks amazing, and plays phenomenally in the AAA space today. Not to mention, there really is no stupid agenda nonsense in this. The game isn't beating you over the head. I know I saw some people online wondering if Grace Ashcroft was gonna be like a girl boss or something. The answer couldn't be further from the truth, guys. Grace is constantly scared. She's stuttering when she speaks, she's crying pretty much when something bad happens, which is pretty often, let's be real, and she barely makes it out of alive when she's fighting the zombies even. She's nothing like a girl boss at all. Leon is the girl boss, honestly, but it's Leon, and he's proven himself to be badass, so it's totally fine. The game's also just not looking down on you, trying to act like it knows better. Instead, it's just a video game. Wow, imagine that. Requiem also isn't live service, always online, or like I said before, bloated. It's instead just a successful outlier that rallies against like the whole industry standard of the live service model they keep pushing. It also keeps proving to me that the future that the games industry wants for games, constant live updates and hamster wheel design, is pretty much obsolete at this point. Because this is what we want. A game worth the money that you spent on it, an actual premium experience that gives you reasons to replay it. Not because promises of like a Fortnite dance, but like real gameplay reasons, right? Infinite ammo, better guns, and like outfits and stuff. That's because you want to do those things because it's fun to play the game. As PC Gamer reported here, they say that in a sea of lawn games, Requiem is a welcome sight to behold because it's not bloated, and thank God for that. As PC Gamer brings up here as well, they state that whenever the game may begin to feel repetitive, Capcom smartly then shifts the entire perspective, taking you from the scary Grace sections to action-packed Leon sequences instead. It's a solid change of pace. Because this way, neither style outstays their welcome. You get the best of both worlds. Personally, I'm glad the game is not all Grace. Mostly because her style of gameplay is far more methodical, which is fine by the way, but it's fun to be set loose with guns and start shooting up zombies as Leon as well. My only real problem is I wish Grace in the early sections could also upgrade her guns as well, kind of like Leon can later on. Sure, I guess to a degree you can find like an attachment or a charm that does affect the gameplay of your gun, like making it stronger or whatnot, but I am somewhat disappointed there's no like real merchant, so to speak, in like Village, for example. Although personally, if I could get any Resident Evil game next, I just want a Jill Valentine only solo experience. If I had to pick something like Resident Evil 3 meets 4 with a sprinkle of Village, but as Jill, that would be peak for me. But what Resi 9 has done is outstanding either way. It's a great game. Some may find it scary. I don't, probably because I'm dead inside, who knows. But I more so just saw every freaky monster or new adversary as something to overcome instead of running away from. Marek Tominsky, that's the CEO of CI Games, the makers of Lords of the Fallen, also praised Requiem, where he said this: "So many industry experts predicted the end of single-player games, yet another one is laughing at them from the top of Steam." And it really is the case. You're probably asking, why would the industry analysts really want single-player games dead? I mean, it's simple. You can't heavily monetize it in the future, or I guess you could, but the backlash won't be great if you do. The industry wants like more Arc Raiders, right? But for every Arc Raiders, you're going to get a Concord, a High Guard, a Marathon, a Fair Games, a Lawbreakers, and God knows what else that's released. It's a race to the bottom. Marek's a CEO, obviously, so he knows how these people work in games. So him saying this is kind of crazy and off-color to be real, but that's awesome to see. As also seen here on the Steam charts, Requiem hit a peak of 344,000 players, currently sitting at about 316 as of me writing this video, and yeah, that's pretty incredible. That's actually higher than the last 3 Resident Evil games on Steam alone combined in their highest player counts at release in this one game. And why this is equally impressive is because unlike free-to-play games, which usually, try to pull these numbers, I guess, Requiem is doing that, but they're doing it at full price. So that's 344,000 people at release with way more around it depending on the time of the day paying full price to play this day one. So let's say $70 USD times 344,000 without taxes to make it easier on us. That's about $24 million out of the gate, not including God knows what it has now plus the PlayStation and Xbox storefronts as well. So yes, Requiem is doing great. It is a huge release. Another single player game that proves that people want more of this sort of thing and less of whatever the Western games industry is pushing these days. It's frankly annoying too, because you're seeing it all over, especially at Sony PlayStation, how the world's biggest studios are all making these live service games. Yet here we have another masterpiece in the making, showing that the truth they've spent billions trying to convince us couldn't work keeps working instead. No, you need to go buy into Highguard and Concord and I guess Marathon, guys. Come on, games are expensive to make. Of course we're gonna have paid cosmetics. No, stop playing the zombie story game. Why are you doing that? You could instead buy 2 whole character bundles and a sticker in our game for the price of that entire insanely polished single player experience that you only have to pay once to play. Stop doing that. We don't want you to do that. And it's really so mask off, like you almost have to feel sorry for them, sort of, but not really. While the industry insists that their bloated budgets and their algorithmic formulas are the only way to succeed, apparently, Requiem just proved that their entire business model is fundamentally broken. Turns out, you don't need to nickel and dime your players with a billion cosmetic bundles and seasonal events and crossovers and whatever other stupid nonsense they cook up. You don't need to sign in for your daily, bonus token to open the pachinko digital machine. No, you don't have to do that. You never did. There is so much cool stuff to play already. Why spend it playing something that clearly doesn't value your time these days? Isn't your time important to you? I think it is, so why not spend it on something cool? But you see with Requiem, if this succeeds, which it absolutely already has, I mean, look at those numbers, the gatekeepers are now losing everything because the narrative is starting to crumble for them instead. Like even Ryan Hill, who also works on Lords of the Fallen 2 at CI Games, he chimed in on Requiem's success when it released and he said this: Resident Evil Requiem should be a massive wake-up call. Despite costing full price, it's performing significantly better than many recent free-to-play multiplayers. Why? Because it's a quality-crafted experience specifically designed for its target audience. Gritty, gory, good old-fashioned, M-rated fun. Exactly why I fell in love with this series with Resident Evil 4 all the way back in 2005. Games for gamers. And he's right? Because Capcom tried making live service Resident Evil games in the past. That did not work out for them. Because when you take the gameplay elements of a game like this and then just turn it into a hamster wheel like everything else, it makes the experience shallow to no one's surprise. The reason why you're playing a Resident Evil or something like that is because of that tension of not actually knowing what's around the corner. And instead of in, say, like Call of Duty, where you have a trillion ammo just mowing dudes down, every bullet in Resident Evil is like finding a gold nugget in the sand. Like, oh my god, I found handgun ammo? Thank the gods. Now I can finally protect myself. There's instead nuance there, right? Of just, I will shoot everything. Sure, Resi does do that at times, I guess, but we knew how that turned out, didn't we? Because when Resident Evil did chase the same trends, that being Resident Evil 6, by the way, we saw how that went. It sold well, sure, because people bought into it believing it would deliver the promise of Resi 4 and 5 before it. Instead, Resident Evil 6 was kind of what happens when the series chases the trends that the Western games industry wants, and it was stupid. And I'm never gonna get over the fact that the logo for Resident Evil 6 looks like someone giving top to a giraffe, but I digress. Anyways, the zombies there felt pointless. It was kind of a mess. The story was absolute nonsense. It wasn't scary at all. It was so linear with nothing to explore or backtrack to. It was just kind of everything Resident Evil should never be in the first place. All I can say is thank God for Resident Evil 6 bringing it back to the roots, because good lord was it a mess. But dude, what I love about Requiem is just that attention to detail. Like, did you know the game is fully playable by either character, mind you, in first and third person at release? But it's not even that, but the cutscenes of the game actually shifts from cutscene to gameplay seamlessly no matter which perspective you're using as well. Like, look at this clip from the first 20 minutes of the game to see what I mean.
Tell me what's going on.
Now is not the time. Stay close.
Mom, wait!
Grace, come on, keep moving.
Isn't that cool? Like, that's awesome. You could play a whole game in first person, then go third person. Now it's totally different. What's also cool is that Grace, for example, has exclusive animations in third person that replicate when she's terrified or trips over things in first person. Like, Capcom didn't leave anything to the imagination. They just cooked across the board and then set a new standard. What I also love is that Requiem, like Resi 7 and 8, and even games like Monster Hunter Wilds and Dragon's Dogma 2, is made on Capcom's own engine. I can't speak. And it's internally called RE Engine. But what I love is that it's another game that doesn't, by the way, use Unreal Engine, and wow, it looks and performs better. Something that many unoptimized games have in common is that they use Unreal Engine 5. The RE engine, which specializes also, if you didn't know, in having ray tracing built into the experience, is a lot like Decima Engine 2. If you don't know what Decima was, that was developed by Guerrilla Games, the Horizon Zero Dawn developers. Decima was also used for Death Stranding 1 and 2. Again, all those games, they look great too, and yeah, it's because it's all unique engines. Kind of makes you wonder how much we're losing when the entire Western industry for the most part suddenly one day, not all, but mostly switched to the same Unreal Engine 5. If you ask me, we're kind of losing the uniqueness of what different in-house engines are capable of. Like Dying Light the Beast is made in-house with its own engine too, and it shows because it's awesome and it runs well. Crimson Desert has its own engine too. Requiem is the same way. I don't know if saying it's an old school way of making games, but it feels more unique at least, that's for sure. Also, I want to bring light to this because it's kind of insane, but there's a game website also called BGFG, which was bought by another website called videogamer.com. Anyways, BGFG, if you don't know, is completely ran by AI. And they released a review for Requiem as seen here, where the reviewer Brian Marigold calls Requiem a series finale, which makes no sense. And they also use an AI image of Grace with AI zombies as the cover. But anyway, why I'm bringing this up, right, is that this Brian Marigold guy is apparently, as you can see here, an expert in iGaming, whatever that is, and sports betting. But here's the thing, this guy, he's not real. He's completely made up, and he's AI actually too. But what's also wild is that this review that this website gave Requiem, which was high by the way, like a 9 out of 10, it was actually factored into Requiem's Metacritic score when it released. So yes, a dude who doesn't even exist played a game that he never did and gave a review on a website ran by AI, and then its score was counted as just as legit as any other human reviewer. Just another day in the Western game industry, fellas, huh? That's kind of creepy and weird at all, but like, that's odd, isn't it? I know it doesn't have much to do with the video. I just wanted to bring it up so that you could see. But here's also another reviewer from that same site, Callum Mercer. This guy also, he's not real either. Is this what the industry wants in the future? AI journalists and forever games meant to monetize you to hell and back? Doesn't sound very captivating at all to me, but I thought you'd want to know that anyways. Honestly though, everything Requiem represents is just kind of more of what I want in games, you know? Idealized characters, great mechanics with unique intricacies, and replayability that doesn't feel forced. It's not only that, but a game that isn't afraid to, you know, actually end, to feel strong enough to say it's fine if you want to move on from this. You don't need to log in every day. It's okay to play a game and have a life, you know, unlike what many online games and stuff wants you to do instead. But I mean, well, we've been told that the old way of doing things can't exist anymore, that so many websites and more are claiming that single-player games are just not economically viable anymore. Yet routinely, those same sort of experiences keep performing great year over year. It's good to know that this illusion, if you will, is being shattered because it never really made sense to begin with. I wouldn't necessarily call Requiem a public enemy of the industry or anything like that, but instead a stark reminder of what we should be getting instead of what we're getting instead. I think the reason why Requiem is resonating is because it refuses to follow what others are doing. It's instead bucking that trend of an absolute broken model that is just, you know, trying to convince you that it works when it really doesn't. And the best way to fix this obsolescence, if you will, is when games that really prove themselves like this happen. It shows that all it takes is one great work of art to get that ball moving again. I saw this post, as you can see here on Twitter, and it says everything, right? In 2026 alone from the West, you already had High Guard and stuff like that God of War spin-off game, and also 1348X Vado coming soon, which had worryingly low demo numbers. All Western made, by the way. On the other side of that image, though, it's just banger after banger so far. Neo 3 was dope. I really enjoyed that game. Requiem is another slam dunk from the East that is eating everyone's lunch, and all the previews for Crimson Desert so far is confirming that that game might just be the biggest launch of the year, honestly, apart from GTA 6 if it actually ends up releasing this year or not. It's just crazy to compare, even in the short amount of time that we've had in 2026 already, the difference in quality experiences and what two different sides of the same industry believe is the future. The West is live service, wordy dialogue driven, barely good enough games with flashes of identity politics. And then on the other side, the Eastern side is just like, here's some cool games, have fun, also they run well and they're not slop. It's just insane how different the mentalities are right now, and it shows how at odds games as a medium continues to be even to this very day. It's like how that Ryan Hill guy said earlier, right? Requiem is a wake-up call. It's something we need right now, pretty much, when everything is just obsessed with engagement metrics and player retention strategies. It turns out that the old ways are still the best ways. If Requiem followed the blueprint, I guess, of what is perceived as the norm, it would have flopped. Instead, it's dominating critically, financially, and even culturally too. Like, Requiem didn't launch promising you some 10-year content roadmap. It didn't promise evolving meta updates, or selling itself with the promises of, don't worry guys, one day this game or whatever is going to be a platform. No, it was just a single player game, and then players showed up in droves. Like, the numbers aren't lying, the reviews are strong, the player counts are healthy, sales are likely going very good for Capcom right now. And who could have guessed that a focused premium horror experience is outperforming multiple games built as services these days? Like, this isn't some weird accident. It should instead be seen for what it really is, okay? A signal of what to actually do. To show the people in those suits that are holding the money to say, look, you can actually make things that do well that aren't slop. It's actually possible. Like, I'm fatigued by a lot of new AAA games. I don't care for limited time events or FOMO as a design philosophy. All these live service games and those like them promised was evolving worlds, but what we got instead, it was just like digital chores, like, at best. And seriously, I want you to think logically here. Ask yourself this: how can you reasonably engage with every game like this when they ask you to make it your second job pretty much? If every major release is demanding long-term commitment from a player base, then the players will start choosing carefully because they actually don't want a second job. Some people have two jobs, man. They don't want a third job even then. All they want is an experience, and they're missing that these days. And another key element of why Requiem is doing so well is pretty obvious too. Sure, the formula has evolved, but Capcom and the developers over there, they never abandoned the core of why people love the series to begin with. There's still tension and atmosphere, resource management, and great pacing. Like, Requiem isn't begging for your attention by shining pretty lights and going, look, it's a movie skin in our new in-game event. It just earns it by being authentic. I love games like this because they're designed to be completed, to respect your time, and by telling a focused story with well-designed encounters that honestly just lets you leave satisfied, and that is becoming more rare when it shouldn't be. There's a big difference here in what the publishers want. They're constantly asking, how do we keep these people logging in every single day? But they never seem to ask themselves if what they're really offering you is memorable in the first place. The difference here is that one is transactional and the other is experiential. And the surprise to absolutely no one, of course, is that experience is winning by a landslide. So when you're used to massive marketing campaigns and all these ambitious, annoying roadmaps, I don't blame you if you feel exhausted. This is why the games that people love are simply saying, here's a complete, polished experience, day one with zero waiting. It's all in there. Just go. Enjoy it. Have fun. That feeling, I don't know, it's refreshing. Maybe is the word. I don't know. Even like rebellious would work too, but either way, the reason why you're seeing their response to Requiem is pretty simple, because it's not chasing trends. It's just confident in what it is. It doubles down on its identity, doesn't dilute itself or its appeal. It just knows what it is, man. And in a market that is oversaturated to the brim with hybrid genre experience, look, it's a siege shooter. Look, it's another 4-player co-op roguelike. Again, it's the simplicity that instead stands out. Ultimately, guys, people just want quality, and they are willing to pay for that peak craftsmanship if they can get it. People want more tightly designed premium experiences. If that wasn't the case, Requiem wouldn't have dog-walked every single live service and single-player game around it, but it did it. The problem is that while publishers may be betting on building these ecosystems for all this long-term promised growth, the majority of people just want experiences. And in a sea of forgettable nonsense slop games, not every game needs to be some evolving platform. Not every game needs a 5-year roadmap with blacked out silhouettes saying like, oh, look, it's a new playable character coming in 3 months. Some games just need to be good, okay? And that's enough. Like, look, I love Requiem. I love single player games. And yes, I want more of them. Maybe that makes me biased. I don't know. I don't care. But what we saw here may be an anomaly to some, but I don't think so. So I guess I want to ask the question, which is that if Requiem is an exception, or is it the beginning of what I hope anyway is a course correction? Let me know what you think. Thanks for being here. Subscribe if you'd like to. Have a great day. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have some zombies to resize with my shotgun.